What's up everybody, this is Super Scudge and welcome to the fourth video in this minor glitches tutorial series. This one is going to cover a class of glitches we call bunny glitches. This includes bunny revival, which is what we call it when you restore your status as the normal Link sprite without actually having the Moon Pearl, as well as super bunny glitches, which is what we call it when you can restore some of the player's normal functions like swinging your sword or dashing while still being a bunny. The first method I'll cover here is called Underworld Bunny Revival. This of course takes place in the Underworld, which means not on the Overworld, inside of dungeons specifically. It has to be a dungeon because you need to be able to warp back to the entrance of the dungeon after dying, which you can't do in most caves and houses. So it's pretty simple actually. You just come into a dungeon as a bunny and let something kill you. When this happens, you start again and you're Link, and that's pretty much all there is to it. Alternatively, and in Skull Woods only, if you are able to get yourself captured by a wall master, he'll bring you back to the entrance that you used and you'll be Link again. When you revive inside of a dungeon and you exit to the Overworld, you will become a bunny again, because the transition from the Underworld to the Overworld has a specific check if you have the Moon Pearl. Checks if you're in the Light or the Dark World, and then determines if you should be a bunny or Link. That'll always happen. However, another mechanic of the game is that before you've defeated the first Aghanim boss, anytime you die, you will be returned to the Light World. And the reason for that is because when you normally play through the game and you go up to the Tower of Hera, there's a very short time when you're in the Dark World on Death Mountain before you've gotten the Moon Pearl or the mirror or any important items like that. And if you were to save and quit there and save and quit to the Dark World and end up on the pyramid, that would be that'd be a pretty major sequence break, wouldn't it? So before you defeat Aghanim, anytime you die in the Dark World, you'll always be revived in the Light World. However, whenever you die in a dungeon, you also return to the beginning of that dungeon. So right now, there's a variable in memory that determines whether I'm in the Light or the Dark World, and it thinks I'm in the Light World because Aghanim has not been defeated. One way to confirm this is to notice that these pots have become Light World pots instead of the normal skull graphic that was shown in the Dark World. In this case, if I leave to the Overworld, because the Light or Dark World flag is set to Light World, I will stay as a normal Link sprite. And this will persist until I transition screens to any other Overworld screen, where the game will use my true coordinate position to resolve the location where I should end up, along with the world that it thinks I'm in, to put me on a Light World screen. So now I'm back in the Light World, with some Dark World palettes still loaded. You can see the palettes are a little messed up, the colors and stuff. But this is the proper Light World. So that persists for that long. If Aghanim is already dead, however, then the same thing will happen as you saw here when I used the Wall Master to revive. As soon as you exit to the Overworld, you would become a bunny again. Next I'll show a couple of ways to activate the Super Bunny glitch. What this will let me do is go into this house and I'll be able to slash my sword and dash and even open that chest up there. Right now I can't do anything, can't do any actions. So there's a couple ways to do this. One is to actually use the mirror on the same frame that I walk into this entrance. Now that can sound difficult, and it is kind of difficult if you try to adjust yourself to get onto the topmost pixel, you know, so that you can press the two buttons at the same time. However, if you walk in and then walk back out of most entrances, this will automatically put you in the top pixel, and from here you just need to press up and Y on the same frame. And as you can see, that works. You can't see the sword, but you can tell it's being slashed. You can dash and open that up. The next way I'll show, and I can do it here as well, is to get boosted into an entrance by an enemy. It doesn't matter if the enemy actually damage boosts you or just pushes you in, so I'm going to use this thief, stand right there, and let him push me in. Really simple. Most enemies will chase you down anyway, so you don't really have to do much work. They'll pretty much do the work for you. A couple things you need to know about these kind of doors though is, as far as I know, you can only enter them if you're facing north, and of course normally there'd be a door that you'd have to open first. Oh, in some entrances, there's a door that you have to touch to make it disappear first, and then you can get boosted in properly. A similar approach to the mirror entry is to actually set a mirror warp near an entrance. This gives you a little more leniency, but unfortunately isn't an available option in very many places. But I can set the mirror here, and then move north a little bit, and face north, so that when I get warped back, I automatically get pulled into the dungeon. This is sort of the opposite of the previous thing that I did, but this is another way in very few places that you can activate that glitch. Another way to activate Super Bunny, this is a pretty easy one, is to fall down any pit in an interior location that takes you to another floor. So not the pits that would normally damage you, but the ones that take you to another floor, and you regain your functionality. You can open chests and everything. Another way that you can activate Super Bunny is to purchase any item from the shop. That'll do it. Unfortunately, this is kind of useless because you don't need to be a Super Bunny to purchase the item. As you saw, I was just a regular bunny when I did it. And you lose the Super Bunny glitch when you exit from the Underworld to the Overworld. Other ways that you would lose the Super Bunny is by bonking or taking damage, things like that. So that one's kind of useless. It's unnecessary anyway, but it's worth noting, I guess. Alright, the next one is a glitch called the Surfing Bunny. This glitch is very similar to fake flippers in the way that it works, because you kind of swim. You can swim from shallow water to deep water and vice versa, just like fake flippers. The main difference, of course, is that you're going to be a bunny, which means you need to be in the dark world without the moon pearl, and you actually need to have the flippers. So we're not going to call it fake flippers, mainly for that reason. But Surfing Bunny is pretty accurate because there's also not a swimming animation for the bunny, so he appears to kind of just sort of walk along the top of the water. So to activate this, we're going to want to find a place where shallow water meets deep water. If I try to walk into the water here, see I kind of get moved in a strange way. Sometimes you'll jump in, sometimes you won't. So we want to get ourselves over top of the deep water here. And we're going to do this by doing very quick and rhythmic taps in the direction that we want to move. And if we get the rhythm just right, we'll slowly inch into the deep water. We don't really have a name for this, so I decided for the sake of this tutorial that I was going to refer to this as wriggling, because it's kind of a silly word. So hopefully that catches on. Alright, now that we're over top of the water, there's two things we can do. I'll make a save state here so I can show both of them. The first one is very easy. You actually can just mirror to the light world, and then just wait for the warp to take you back. And after this, you should move around like you're swimming, except without a swimming animation. And this is the Surfing Bunny glitch. The other technique is to actually activate fake flippers using the screen transition. So when you get close to the screen transition, you want to hold that direction, in this case left, and try to jump into it. If you can't do it, you want to try to tap so you move a little bit closer, or wriggle I should say, a little bit closer, and then try the same thing again. It might take a few tries, sometimes it does. But you kind of have to jump into the transition. So if you kind of walk into it with the wriggle, then you know it's not going to work. Oh, here we go. So now I've achieved that. It's a little more difficult than using the mirror, but if you don't happen to have the mirror, then maybe it's your only option. Alright, so that's the Surfing Bunny glitch. And that's going to lead into Overworld Bunny Revival, which I will explain in a little more detail right now. The first version of the Overworld Bunny Revival that I want to show, I'm going to show without flippers. For the Surfing Bunny glitch, you do need the flippers. So there's a little difference in how the bunny interacts with water without them. You actually jump straight into the water like you would normally as Link without the flippers. So we're going to try to do the fairy fake flippers glitch, which was shown in the fake flippers tutorial. In that video, I used a bomb for this setup. Unfortunately, as a bunny, you can't use any items. So you kind of have to coerce an enemy to kill you as you're jumping into water. And that's what makes this a pretty difficult technique. But I want to show it first. I'm going to try to coerce one of these enemies to kill me. We'll see how long it takes. Alright. I'll try to get this bomber guy to drop a bomb in the deep water right in front of me so I can jump right onto it. I mean, I have no control over what he does. There we go. That was pretty quick. It can be really difficult if you get bad patterns. That actually took a few tries, but I'm going to edit out all the failed attempts. So now you have fake flippers to your regular Link in the Dark World, and you should be able to explore anywhere on the Dark World, Overworld, without having any problems. You will lose this glitch state and turn back into the bunny. Not when you go into a indoor location, but when you exit. So you can enter one place and then come out and you'll be a bunny again. Okay, I've given myself the flippers again, so I can show the easier way to perform the Overworld bunny revival. First thing we're going to do is set up the surfing bunny by wriggling into the water here. Really, you just need to get completely onto the deep water. You don't have to go too far. Oh, hopefully he doesn't hit me. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, I'm still good. I'm still within killable territory. I do have the surfing bunny glitch done successfully. Now this is a lot easier because I can just walk right into these guys. I don't have to wait for one of them to come to me. I don't have to time the jump into the water. Now I'm Link. Try to get away from him now. Okay, and there we go. Same deal as before, except a little bit easier. Alright, I want to show one more way of activating the surfing bunny glitch and a cool application of it. First thing we need to do is set a warp down here on this diving board. I'm going to jump off the bottom just so I'm on the lowest pixel and then move all the way to the east to set this portal. Next thing I'm going to do is line up with this wall here so that I can dash straight south, and I'll land partly on the portal and partly in the water. When we warp back to the Dark World, we should have the surfing bunny glitch activated. And I'm actually going to just go right onto land here and deactivate the glitch. Just because if you take damage while doing surfing bunny, the same thing happens as when you're doing fake flippers, and you'll get warped back to where you jumped into the water, and that could potentially be a bad thing. So that's a way to activate the surfing bunny glitch, but I actually want to use the wriggling technique to wriggle across this gap here. When you're doing the surfing bunny, since it is basically fake flippers, you can't use items. But if I do wriggling to get to this island, I can use the mirror again and actually get to this island without needing the Moon Pro like you normally would. So that's a cute little skip to get to this point. Bunny glitches are one of the most fun classes of glitches because you get to listen to probably the best soundtrack in the entire game, the bunny theme song. Well, hopefully you learned something from this tutorial, and hopefully you're encouraged to go out and try some of these glitches yourself. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.